First and foremost, empowerment. And I know that's a little more intangible, but it's so important with your finances to make sure that you're empowered with understanding what they're saying so that you can make that next step without fear, guilt, or shame before or after the fact.
Mhm.
And the transformation I've seen with just that piece is so powerful. It's incredible and amazing.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody, this is Max Pittman from WriteForMe, and you're listening to another episode of the Business Ninjas podcast, where we meet the experts who are making things happen and scaling their businesses. And today we're talking about the Graceful Penny with Miss Audrey Heesch, who is the CEO at the Graceful Penny. Audrey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Max. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we had the opportunity here to meet before, and you had me be a part of your podcast and your event that's coming up, which was very fun to do. So I appreciate you having me be a part of the content that you're trying to build and grow at your organization. And I'm excited to kind of flip the script here and talk a little bit about what you got going on internally at the Graceful Penny. And for people who don't know Audrey, in the Graceful Penny, it's a financial empowerment organization focused specifically on small to medium-sized businesses. And you started the venture back in 2020. And let's dive into what's going on at the company for sure. But before we dive in there, I definitely want to give you the floor to give the our audience a little bit of insight into who you are, because our community is built of entrepreneurs, executives, and sales and marketing leaders. Definitely some opportunities or prospects that might be out there that could leverage you potentially. So, as the CEO there at the Graceful Penny, tell our community a little bit about yourself and your role and some of the things you're focused on.
Well, thank you. That was a lovely introduction. I have a degree in finance, and I just early on as a kid, I've learned somehow that I am really great at money. I am really great at money management. My whole family doesn't know where I came from because they're like all over the place, and I'm just really great at it. And so that led me into the finance degree, which led me into bookkeeping, and it just like kept growing and learning. And I have a bookkeeping business, and I realized that the financial side of your business tends to be the first thing that gets put aside and the last thing that gets outsourced. And that creates a lot of shame and guilt. And so I learned that I was really great at making people feel empowered when they're in an unempowered position with their finances, and just teach them and grow that knowledge that isn't taught in our society. And so that's where the Graceful Penny came in, is to empower those business owners with their finances and what that looks like, and making sure that it works for them instead of these cookie cutter solutions that tend to disempower people because they're not set up for how they work as the CEO. And so it's really important to come in and figure out what works with people. And that's what I love doing.
Yeah, it's really special. I mean, finances is always a sticky subject for sure, especially for couples and definitely for businesses. And you have to be open about those conversations and transparent, even as kind of tough as it may be, because that's, transparency is going to be key in any healthy business in relationship. So, tell me, I guess, a little bit about like the origin story here. You said, as a bookkeeper, probably working with, multiple businesses, and, what gap did you see here, and why did you start the organization?
The gap is definitely people like entrepreneurs who don't put their books together. So a lot of entrepreneurs gather up their receipts at the end of the year for taxes because that is the deadline. And so it gets neglected all year long, and they're just using their cash on hand or whatever's in their bank account as what is available, and not having that big picture because it's not in their book form, because they don't understand that part. And so I'm here to really dig in and put it into the books to show them how powerful and manageable it can be. And it's not the big scary task at the end of the year where it piles up and people are falling asleep late at night on kitchen tables. I've heard that story so many times. And so I'm here to empower people and be like, it doesn't have to be that stressful or that complicated. It is a 15-minute task it can be as little as a 15-minute task once a month. And that's what I'm here to plug in and show people how easy it is once you get it set up. The setup does take a little more stress because it has been accumulated, but once you get it sorted out, it is smooth sailing.
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe we can talk a bit about like that onboarding and kind of kickoff process just a little bit. Like, tell me, I guess, a little bit about like, it is a little bit more hands-on for sure. You're gonna have to dive into the details and the decimal points, right? So tell me a little bit about like kind of that, service, the white glove service that you're, kicking people off with, and then like, what does that look like as it gets automated moving forward?
Yes, that is an excellent question. And I am very I'm very flexible in that because it's so important to me that it works within each company. And so it's not a one size fits all. It is really being like, okay, where are you at? And then where do you want to go? And then I plug into that to more directly answer your question. I really go in and make sure that as an overview that all your transactions are going through a business account, and that any transactions that's going through your personal is accounted for and tracked, and everyone is in the know on how that works and how that flows into your books, because it's very important that you get that deduction. You paid for it. It was a business expense. It should count for you. And so it's very important to dig into that. That is the biggest one that I tackle. But everything else is very customized. And if you have a bunch of cash, getting a cash tracking system, a cash log, all of that. If it's a bunch of online presence, what that looks like, and tracking that, and just really figuring out what that is. And then the maintenance, again, is whatever it looks like for them.
There's got to be a lot of openness and transparency. I mean, you're diving into people's, into their businesses, right? So tell me, I guess, a little about like the businesses that you work really well within. Like, who is the target audience within the small to medium size, revenue space that you partner up with?
I have clients that are making about $20,000 a year, and ones that are making almost $2 million a year. Mm-hmm. So it's anyone who feels like they are ready to take responsibility of their finances and really look at it and come to the table and sit down and be like, okay, this is my question. What does this mean? And I will sit with you until you understand it, and keep asking those questions, because your finances are a key pillar. It is the foundation of your entire business and really your life. So it's really important that you come to the table, sit down, and ask those questions, even if you don't know what to ask. That is so important. And if you don't know what to ask, just keep coming and be like, okay, what does this line mean? What is this? How is this? How is this flowing? I don't understand why this is the way it is. And it's really just building up those small muscles so that you can just look at your profit and loss and understand it.
So it sounds like you're really acting almost as like a fractional, like CFO to some of these organizations. Like, is that maybe some of the secret sauce, or why a customer would choose you over a competition, I guess, or bringing someone on internally?
Yes, that's actually exactly what my title, what I hire on people, is an interim CFO. So thank you for that. That means I'm doing it right. Yes, interim CFO. I come in, the first 30 days, figure out your systems, where you're at, what your personal goals are. We figure out the metrics, what that looks like for you. I build the systems. I train your team if you have a team that you want to handle, whatever the case may be. And then I take off, and the quarterlies, we come together at end of year when it's tax time. I bring you your checklist that you need to make sure is taken care of, and I sit with you until your taxes are ready to go to your CPA. Love
it. Yeah, it's really robust from start to finish, and makes sense why you being super detailed and you being the CFO that you are can help companies get on the right track. Like, what are some of the goals and outcomes that you're looking to accomplish? I know they probably are changed from customer to customer, especially based on, revenue size as well. But like, what are some of those outcomes that you try to drive for your clients?
First and foremost, empowerment. And I know that's a little more intangible, but it's so important with your finances to make sure that you're empowered with understanding what they're saying so that you can make that next step without fear, guilt, or shame before or after the fact.
Mhm.
And the transformation I've seen with just that piece is so powerful. It's incredible and amazing. The more tangible is getting yourself paid. That is something that small business owners in particular struggle with. And when you go from the employment sector to employer and you're the CEO, that is a hard transition that people struggle with, and knowing how much to pay themselves and when to pay, or just not paying themselves at all. And so that is a beautiful step forward that I give my clients. And also just hitting their revenue goals. If they want to hit that 150K a year, we get them there. So
there we go. That's what it is, right? That's the value there, is like getting them to where they want to be, right? But there's some other intangibles too that probably they wouldn't consider when thinking about like how where they are, and but from a mental perspective as well. So it sounds like that's definitely an element that you provide.
in business, there's the intangible and the tangible, and they go hand in hand. As much as we like as humans to just see the tangible results, the intangible is so powerful because that's what drives the tangible.
So what are some of the challenges? And by the way, for anyone listening, I'm doing this podcast with my dog Nash, and he wants out right now. So if anyone who's listening, go check out our YouTube. You can meet Nash. Say bye. Bye, Nash. Bye, Nash.
Bye, Nash. He's so cute.
Well, what are some of the challenges, I think, like that you think you're facing, like as a business right now, right? What are some of the opportunities that you see are out there, for you to kind of come in and crush? Like what's top of mind for you today about growing your business?
I crush money shame.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Is I meet people where they're at and uplift them to where they want to be. And I show them the value of learning what the bottom line is instead of the top line. So many people push the $100,000 or get six figures. And all my finance people are cringing on the inside because that means nothing if your bottom line doesn't match what your actual goal is.
So it sounds like, continuing to educate and inform, like your audience on, there's wins there for sure, but we also have to be like realistic. So you're coaching them, right? So with that in mind, like, how are you like helping, any prospects or potential clients like get educated on like how you think and talk about money, from an outside perspective? They're looking, to determine if you're a fit for them, and being a fit for, having an interim CFO come in.
Yes, I actually have a client currently who's going through an audit, and she also has a memory problem. Like, she had a heart attack that impacted her brain. And so she has a memory problem. And so she asks a lot of the same questions, but they're good progressive questions. And so I just sit there with her, and I just a couple days ago on the profit and loss, and we went through every single line and empowered her with what that means, how that impacts her taxes. Because a lot of small business owners don't understand how their business side plays into their taxes. Because as an employee, you have your W-2, and that goes to your taxes, and that makes sense. That's clean, clear-cut, straight line for the most part. But when you add the business side, there's so many other elements, and it's really about empowering them to look at those lines, understand how those lines play into your taxes. And so then you can start making smart, strategic decisions for your business that empower you and uplift you and take you to where you want to go. Because taxes tend to be one of the things that small business owners like are most frustrated with, because they don't understand that flow. And so just empowering them and learning.
Going line by line too, as well, being very hands-on for sure. And But this woman, right, who you work with, like how did she find you? Like, how did you guys get hooked up? Was it through word of mouth? Like, did you hear about her? Did she hear about you? Just kind of curious.
Her in-house bookkeeper actually was on my very first course play. So I went through and did a course on empowering business owners with learning your reports and understanding from A to Z sort of thing. And so once that happened, and she was like, okay, I'm trying to put together my past 2 years of books to file my taxes because the taxes got set aside. And so just empowering her to do that. And then she was like, hey, can you come help me do a book build? And then it turns out she has an audit at the same time. And so it's just been putting 4 years of books together in a month.
Big projects then. Well, that's great, right? Like that, just kind of curious to see like how are, you able to kind of grow and scale. And I'm sure there's only so much that you can do with only so many clients, right? But like, what do you see in the, by the end of this year, like something that you want to be celebrating? Like, what do you see as an area that like you can be able to, bring on additional people to be a part of like your own company growth? Just kind of curious.
Thank you for that question. I am really eager to get now a total of 10 interim CFO clients by the end of the year, because I want to really be able to dig in and help those 10 people feel empowered and take off to the moon, because I know they can once they look at their numbers, because they're so creative. That's the beautiful side of entrepreneurship. They're so creative and they're so excited about what they're doing, and just knowing their numbers gives them that one tool that's at their disposal. So that's my goal. That's my dream.
Yeah. Are you using any like content marketing, or are you like, how are you able to generate new business today?
I am currently doing a summit. So July 17th through 21st, there is actually free summit. Your wonderful audience is welcome to sign up. It's www.getoffthemoneyshametrain.com. I have 10 incredible speakers with phenomenal people like Max Pittman here, who's on board, and just sharing their knowledge and their wisdom and gifting that to the audience. And it's free. I'm also adding one more step. If you sign up, I'm donating $1 to charity. If you go VIP, I'm donating $5 to charity that the audience gets to choose. So it's just a fun way to not only empower yourself and your business, but also give back to society.
Yeah, get off the money train shame, right?
Get off the money shame train.
Shametrain.com. I love that. What a great URL. For sure. We'll share that in the description. So people who are listening can check it out, and your audience can check it out as well. They haven't signed up. It's coming up quick, right? So hopefully everyone who's listening can go ahead and check it out. And as we wrap things up here, Audrey, I'd love to like give you the floor. You've talked a lot about financial empowerment and kind of what that means, and how you're able to like kind of go line by line and help business owners kind of take care of their finances and feel empowered about it, and not kind of feel the shame of not being empowered, or not having things where they need to be. But there's always a direction that they might need, right? So like any advice you want to give to your audience and to our audience about about finances, and how like the mental state they should be in, like just kind of want to give you the floor.
Yes. Get rid of the avoidance. Avoidance is your enemy. It doesn't help. I know it feels good to put that off and be like, I don't want to look at that, but it is so empowering and beneficial for you to know what your numbers are saying and where they're at, and because that's your golden nugget to get you where you want to go. It is literally the golden nugget. It's your money. It's how you get there. And so the more you know, the more you are able to use the tool that's already at your disposal. You don't have to pay more money to get it. It's there. It's all there. So just use it. It's helpful. It just takes you to where you want to go.
Great advice. Well, how can people get a hold of you, Audrey? Want to make sure you have the opportunity to share how people can get a hold of you and find you and check out your services.
You can always send me an email, Audrey, Audrey, at thegracefulpenny.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Graceful Penny, and or www.gracefulpenny.com.
Beautiful. Yeah, everyone go check out Audrey and the Graceful Penny. Check out the summit, get off the money shame train. No, the shame. Gosh, that's such a mouthful. Do it one more time for us.
Get off the money shame train.
I was right.
You were.
I was right. So yeah, go check out the event, and you'll get to hear me as a speaker there too, helping educate people on B2B lead gen, prospecting, and opportunity creation as well. So there's definitely going to be a lot of value there. So definitely go check it out. Audrey, thank you so much for being here and being a part of the Business Ninjas podcast and telling your story.
Thank you so much, Max. This has been incredible, and I appreciate it so much. And yes, come see Max on this summit. He's incredible. Oh my gosh, like the knowledge and wisdom this man drops. Come check it out.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, everyone have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much for listening. That wraps up another episode of our Business Ninjas podcast. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you.